we're going to talk to Bonnie, who also wants to talk about abortion. Bonnie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right?
Yep.
Good. Can you hear me? Okay. I believe that a person should be able to get an abortion, but I think that they need, if it's incest, rape, anything like that, I think it should be turned into the police. And if a woman is, let's say she's got a boyfriend, and she gets pregnant, a lot of times the guy will not want to support the baby, and so he'll want her to get an abortion, and she's very likely to be killed or beaten up, anything, because they don't want to support this baby. And there's a morning after pill. So yes, I believe a person should be able to get an abortion, especially a child. But to use it as just a means of birth control, I think is very irresponsible, considering today you can get birth control pills and the morning after pill. Now, when I was a kid in the 60s, you couldn't even get birth control pills without getting a prescription from the doctor, and they wouldn't only give it prescription diet pill birth control pills to a woman who was married. So they would have to get married. I mean, if she got pregnant, this girl would have to get married. They did quickie marriages. But I think they should be able to get an abortion, but I think they should prove it's rape or incest or something like that.
Bonnie, I think you still need to have a, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm not going out and getting birth control pills, but I think you still need to get a doctor's prescription for them. I don't think you they're not over the counter.
Well, there's other means of birth control.
Plan B?
I mean,
like Plan B?
There's foam. Well, there's foam.
Sure.
There's foam that you can take if you're married. And you don't have to be married. If you got a girlfriend, there's these little things that you stick into the vagina, and that will prevent a pregnancy. So I mean, sometimes they do get pregnant anyway. If hole in the condom. I mean, people that are having sex and they're not married or they're not planning a pregnancy and they get married. I mean, have sex. So I mean. Babies do get, they did get pregnant without planning on it, but usually a woman will know that pretty quick if she's, within like a month, if they miss their period. So I mean, if they have an abortion like really quick, you know what I mean? But otherwise, to me, it's irresponsible.
Okay, Bonnie, great. You make an interesting point. You have an interesting perspective on it. If they take action very quickly, what if they're in a geographical location where the ability to get birth control and or morning after pills and or other contraceptive or post-conceptive contraceptive measures are less available to people of certain economic groups? What if they're far away from the care they would need to take those? I guess would you say they shouldn't be having sex then?
Well, I think they should be more careful if they're, because you can go to the drugstore and you can get these things that you can stick in your vagina. I know because I used them. There's foams you can use. There's things you can do. We prevented children, my husband and I, for 20 years. So I know you can do it.
Bonnie,
sometimes
you're right. There are things. There are little things you can stick in vaginas, and I'm not going to make a joke about that, but by not saying that. But you're right. There are measures you can take to prevent that from happening. But someone like Gohan, right? And I don't think I'm straw manning you, Gohan, when I say this, would say, those measures that like the morning after pill, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is killing a living human being who's no different than Franklin Delano Roosevelt, right? Like that argument is still needs to be addressed.
Well, I disagree with that. The fertilized egg has to go down the fallopian tubes, and it has to be attached into the uterus and to be considered a living thing. Yeah, I don't agree with that. No.
How do you feel about abstinence-only education?
But my religion, the religion that I used to belong to, Jehovah's Witnesses, they did consider that murder, but I do not. But some religions do. That's not it has to go down the fallopian tubes and attach to the uterus before it is considered human or whatever.
the
But
word
the girls have a lot of times they'll have spontaneous abortions and don't even know it up to like 2 or 3 months.
Bonnie, there's a word that you've used that has stood out to me, which is the word responsible. And I want to pitch a scenario to you. So say some folks say that the conditions are as close to ideal as you can imagine. From your perspective, say they're married. Say they're planning for a family, and they very intentionally decide to get pregnant, and they're gonna have a baby. But midway through that pregnancy, they decide they're not ready. That maybe they're not ready financially. Maybe something comes up in their lives, and they just don't. The timing isn't right to them anymore. And from their perspective, the most responsible thing for them to do would be to terminate that pregnancy and go back to the drawing board and try again later. What would you say to those people?
I would call them murderers.
Murderers? Why?
Yes, I would, because by the time you're like 3, in fact, my daughter-in-law right now is pregnant, and I don't think they can afford it. If you wait until that child has got a heartbeat and arms and legs, and no, I consider that murder. If you're raped, it's different.
But I'm asking you why. This is the important thing.
And not realize that
I'm asking you why. And we're limited on time, Bonnie. So I really want to drill down on this. The critical question here is why. Say we're 10, 12 weeks into the pregnancy, the developing fetus is the size of a tangerine and has a heartbeat. Okay, and these folks decide that they're not ready. Why would this be a murder?
Responsible, because that is a human life. Up until, yes, the first couple of months, I don't consider just a bunch of flesh. I mean, just a bunch of meat. No, they were irresponsible. It's a whole different scenario if that person was raped.
In this scenario, Bonnie, remember, these people were responsible. This was very intentional. And now something has happened in their lives where they've decided that they're not ready. So they think the most responsible thing for them to do is to terminate the pregnancy. What makes that murder is what I'm asking you.
By their girlfriends or their boyfriends because they don't want to support that kid. It happens all the time.
Bonnie, please try listening to me. I want to just have a conversation with you, and I want to be respectful to you. So I'm asking you, why, if these people are trying to be as responsible as they possibly can, if they decide they're not ready to have a baby, why would it be murder for them to end that pregnancy?
Because that person has now got arms and legs, and they feel pain. Do you know how many people that they can kill that child right up until the time it's born, stick a thing inside the vagina and cut that baby up to pieces? Do you think that baby doesn't feel pain? No, I think the ones that want that baby.
Right. Okay. So if we're saying, and look, I don't know, in the scenario that I pitched to you, we're talking, 3 months in, you mentioned a heartbeat. So that's why I placed it there in the gestation. Right. So, but I'm asking you, what makes this murder? What makes this wrong?
People, you know how many people want children and can't have them? My husband and I were married for 10 years before I got pregnant, and we had the hardest time in the world trying to adopt a child. You try go to a animal shelter, Bonnie, and try to take a.
Okay, look, I'm muting you really fast because here's what I'm getting, and I'm gonna unmute you. I promise. I can tell that you care passionately about this. Mm-hmm. What I'm asking you to do is slow down, so that we can think about this and talk about this. All right. And I don't know if you're familiar with this show, but I'm just going to tell you, I want to have as many true beliefs and as few false beliefs as I possibly can. If it is true that the claim aborting a baby is murder or aborting a baby is wrong, if those things are true, I want to come with you and believe the same things that you do. But I need you to explain to me why you believe these things so we can figure out what's real here. Okay, so just take a deep breath and we'll try to talk about it.
Okay. I grew up in the 60s. Okay, in those days, in order to get birth control, and I know a lot of people that had to get married because it was so embarrassing to the family to have a child out of wedlock. So, and you could not get birth control pills or anything like that. That wasn't available in drugstores unless you went to a doctor, and you had to be married to be able to get birth control pills. So that's when they did the Roe versus Wade thing, because in order to get an abortion, you had to go to these backwoods doctors and be, how many people died because of that, or they'd get married. So times were so different then. Now it's different. They're so different today. So in my opinion, once this child or baby is, in those days they didn't have where you could look at these children with ultrasounds. You didn't know. You didn't know. Now you can go to any museum and you can see what these babies look like when they're 2 and 3 months old. They have arms and legs. It's so different now than Roe versus Wade. To me, I think that if they would do away, not make abortion so easy. It would help do away with rape and incest, because these people, in order to get an abortion, and I think you should be able to get an abortion. I don't think any girl should be forced to have a child that she did not want. I believe that. But if they're gonna make it easy, then make sure you turn in that person that raped that child. Make sure.
Okay. Yeah. You
ahead,
just said something. Okay, so this is taking many twists and turns, and people in the chat cool your heels on being too harsh here. Okay, you can disagree, and I do too. But so you're saying that people who get pregnant should be able to legally obtain abortions without going to prison, but that they do so. Wait. Should people be allowed to have abortions if they seek them? Yes or no?
They can have an abortion, but they've got to turn in that rapist. If a girl is
stop.
You got to, Bonnie. You got to slow down, because, and again, here's where we're at. So you're a person who cares passionately about this issue. You've got a set of moral intuitions here. You don't want people to be harmed. Okay, you want people to be okay and to have good lives, and you don't want there to be unnecessary pain and suffering in the world. That is what I'm getting from you. Okay, so you've got a set of moral intuitions. You've got a set of conclusions that you've arrived at about abortion specifically. So now we're trying to have a conversation about it. Johnny's asking you specific questions, and so try really hard to hear what he's asking you, because it's going to matter to us being able to have a conversation. Johnny, try it one more time.
Okay, Bonnie, independent of criminal prosecution of rapists, which very few people in this community will argue with you that rapists shouldn't be prosecuted. Okay, is it your opinion that people who get pregnant should be able to seek out and obtain abortions from licensed doctors?
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Now wait.
The one that wants that child to have an abortion is the dad that got her raped, or the boyfriend that raped her, or the husband
Bonnie, I think we can all agree. Parents who rape children and boyfriends or others who rape people, those effers need to go before a court and be prosecuted. We need to figure out what's going on here and send them away, and things need to happen. But okay, what about in instances where there is no sexual assault, where it's consensual?
Yeah.
Should those people who get pregnant be allowed to obtain legal abortions in your view?
No.
Okay.
So then the question becomes why?
No.
Okay.
Because 40 years ago, when they put Roe versus Wade, and there weren't ultrasounds. You didn't know what this child was.
Okay.
What this.
All right, Bonnie.
3 months.
Bonnie, doesn't that mean that people who want to obtain abortions outside of instances of incest and rape will then do what they used to do, which is go to, they call it back alley abortions, go to unscrupulous individuals or scrupulous individuals with no legal protections, and they will seek out off the books abortions. And with that, will that not come with certain financial, legal, and medical risks to the person receiving the abortion?
Nobody's going to argue that if the woman's life is in danger, that she shouldn't be able to get an abortion. But
that wasn't on the table at all.
Back it up.
We're not there.
Yeah, we're not there. We're talking about just, Jack and Diane. They have sexual intercourse, and in the course of sexual intercourse, Jack fertilizes Diane's egg, and it makes its way up the fallopian tube, and it implants in the uterus. And then, like Kenneth said, they said, oh no, we can't do this, yada, yada, yada. We should get an abortion. Now, Jack is in favor of it. Diane is in favor of having the abortion. And in your legal scheme, they should not be able to get abortions. So what are they going to do? Are they going to... They should just suck it up and have it? Or should they be allowed to go to a licensed legal doctor to legally obtain an abortion?
People aren't that stupid anymore. You know today what it is. It is murder if that child... You did not know when Roe versus Wade went through what conditions were like in those days. I do. I went through that period myself. Right. There's no excuse for anybody to be that irresponsible and use abortion as a means of birth control. I'm telling you, the one that wants that abortion is
Bonnie. There are instances where the gentleman in the equation wants the baby, and their partner who's carrying the baby does not want to have a baby. How would you justify forcing a woman to carry, forcing someone to carry a baby to term that they don't want to have, that they don't feel prepared to have, that they feel it would be irresponsible to have? What's the argument for forcing that person to give birth?
Responsible when there's a life involved here. If they're going to be that irresponsible, how can people be that stupid and irresponsible?
Bonnie, I got to push back on this because you're making sweeping assumptions about people. You're saying things about them being stupid and irresponsible. Okay,
we're not. Let's give them. Okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. All right, that Jack and Diane, two American kids doing the best they can. Right. Okay, they get pregnant through the course. The stork, right? Whatever. And they know that they can't raise a child. They don't want to. Why is it irresponsible if, how about this? Wait, Bonnie, wait. Diane's on birth control.
And birth control is not 100% effective.
And Jack bagged it up. And yet something happened.
The key is why. What we're asking you is why. And what happens is when we toss it back to you, you keep just going, well, people are stupid and irresponsible, and you don't know what it was like 40 years ago. But none of this tells us why some person should be forced to carry a baby to term if they don't want to.
Well, I don't know. I just think it's irresponsible. I think that they should, like I said, there's the morning after pill. There's forms. If they decide they're going to have a child, and then 3 or 4 months later they change their mind.
Sure.
They change their mind.
Sure.
You got to be kidding me.
Why should they be forced to carry the baby to term?
If they don't want that child, have it adopted.
Maybe they do want a child. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe there was some medical emergency in their family and now they have to take care of someone else. Maybe they're just not ready. Maybe they did everything they possibly could to be as responsible as they can from Bonnie's worldview. Right. But shit happens.
And then Bonnie, what happens to them? If they go and get an illegal abortion somewhere from some unlicensed doctor or for some on the side, and there's no legal consequence for when it goes wrong, and there's medical consequences both legal and medical consequences for the person receiving the abortion. What should happen to that person? Now they have to go out there and tough luck. It's against the law. You decided to have an abortion, therefore you're entitled to maybe permanent reproductive harm. Like there are societal consequences to that. And what if I told you that this kind of situation tends to fall more heavily upon certain economic and cultural groups, right? Demographic groups, that wealthy people, people with more education, people in areas where they can get a hold of birth control and foam and other stuff, they tend to be able to navigate that more. But the human desire to screw, pardon my language, is just as strong in people who are poor and who are raised in abstinence-only education areas. And yet those are the people now have to shoulder the burden of dealing with this pregnancy. So now you're sending them out to go get illegal abortions, and you would have them go to jail, maybe. Would you have them go to jail if they do get an illegal abortion?
I think what happens a lot of times is that when you're raised in a religion, where they cannot have sex. For instance, the religion that I was in, Jehovah's Witnesses, they cannot have sex. They're not going to go get the pill. They're not going to go get the pill. They're not going to get the because they're not supposed to be having sex. So they're going to cover it up. Yes, and I think there are instances where religion is absolutely responsible for that.
Bonnie, we're there. We're together. So, like, you're right. In an environment where people are taught, you can get a foam, you can do a condom, you can do birth control, you can do other stuff that doesn't get pregnancy happening.
Because they don't tell their kids.
They don't tell their kids. So now you've got Jack and Diane, liberal elites living in, I don't know, Brooklyn, and they decide to take every precaution they can do, and they do other stuff. And then you've got, I don't know, Bonnie and Clyde, and they're in rural somewhere, and they've been told their entire lives, you mustn't have sex until you are married, and then only for the sake of procreation. And yet they're horny as shit, and they're gonna have sex, and they don't know how it works.
So, friends, I got to step in because we are running up against a hard stop. But Bonnie, I appreciate you calling in.
Yes.
I know that you're trying to be compassionate, but I really hope that you spend some time thinking about the multifaceted issues here. That this is complicated, and I hope you can find some compassion for the people who you're thinking of as irresponsible. I'm going to drop the call, but call back in the future. We really appreciate you.